Welcome to Covenant Security Solutions Lunch and Learn series. Covenant is pleased to host a forum on the latest around cybersecurity. We have provided topics to our community ranging from privacy to insider threats and upcoming trends in cybersecurity. So please be sure to make note to join us. Usually we're on every third Tuesday of the month from 1 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern to get the latest insights in cybersecurity. But we're fortunate enough this month, we actually were able to coincide our webinar with International Women's Day. And we will be joined today by Marci McCarthy. But before I get into her introduction, I wanted to share a little bit of background on, just one second. Some house rules that we need to follow. So first, we request that you hold your questions until the end of the presentation. This allows us to provide the greatest opportunity for our speaker to share their expertise and knowledge with you, given our limited time window. However, we don't want you to worry if you have questions. We always stop about 5 minutes to the end of the webinar session to host any of your questions. If we don't get to your questions, please be sure to type them into the response form at the conclusion of the webinar, and we will ensure they are answered offline. Today, as I noted, we have a topic of great interest given this is International Women's Day. We have Marci joining us to talk about women in security and building for our future. And as you can note here on our very first slide, one of the most startling things that I've actually witnessed and experienced as part of this industry in cybersecurity is that the statistic here from the ISC Squared Global Information Security Workforce Study, which says that women only represent 10% of the industry. So we're looking forward to Marci's discussion today to give us some insight into how we can strengthen those numbers, how we can encourage women to join the cybersecurity workforce and have more cyber warriors and cyber goddesses, as I like to say. So before we start, I want to give a little brief background on Marci, who's joining us. So Marci, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, well, I'm going to let the audience know the wonderful background that you have. You are the CEO and president of T.E.N, an information security executive networking and relationship marketing firm. You're also the CEO and chairman of the ISC Talent Boutique, executive recruitment and talent management firm. It's dedicated to information security executives and professionals, and you have more than 20 years of business management entrepreneurial experience in this field as well. So you have a plethora of experiences to share with us and many, many wonderful people. So we're looking forward to this great presentation you're going to provide for us this morning. So I'm going to turn the floor on over to you, Marci.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the warm introduction. We'll go ahead and start with the first slide. Let me tell you a little bit more about my background, and then we'll jump into the heart of the presentation.
Okay.
So I have been in the information security industry since the early part of 2001-ish, which seems like a really long time ago, and I guess that sort of makes me old or maybe a veteran of the information security industry. But I had the pleasure of starting my career in information security by working at SecureWorks as the director of product marketing, and then I was also the head of marketing over at Lanecope. So I've had the opportunity to work with two great companies before kicking off my entrepreneurial background or companies, where I started a company called Executive Alliance, and then in 2010 started T.E.N, and then just last year started ISC Talent. So T.E.N, real quick, is a marketing and events company bringing together leading information security executives, and we do so through our ISE Award Program Series, where we're showcasing and honoring leading security executives and the project teams on a regional and national North America basis. And then we founded ISC Talent, taking on the aspects of being able to recommend. We've been asked to recommend people for new opportunities in a very, an informal manner, and we're honored to, be engaged on some type of searches, and we felt that we needed to formalize that into a separate company called ISC Talent, where we are doing quite well. I was also honored to receive the 2012 recipient of a 4th Congressional District of Georgia citation for all the work that I've been doing in cybersecurity, and that was bestowed upon me at the ISE Southeast Awards in 2012 by our Congress, and that facilitated it was Congressman Hank Johnson of the 4th Congressional District. So it was a real honor to have March 13th be named actually Marci McCarthy Day, which is coming up on Sunday. So very excited about celebrating a holiday in one's honor. I guess I get two birthdays, right? A holiday and a birthday.
Well, congratulations on that.
Well, thank you very much. So let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
So as you mentioned, the information security is really transforming. It's so amazing to watch this industry evolve from the early part of 2001. We have gone from a industry focused on protection, but not even understanding what that meant in terms of antivirus technologies or intrusion detection, to being out at RSA last week and just seeing all the breadth and depth of different types of technologies and the impact it has on different organizations. Last week at the RSA conference, it is estimated there were between 30,000 and 40,000 security professionals bestowed upon San Francisco. So the world is our oyster in cybersecurity. And diversity is one of the challenges and shortfalls in the cybersecurity profession. By diversity, I mean we have lots of great folks out there, but we don't have a lot of women and minorities overall who are equally as talented, and we want to open the doors of opportunity. So the information security industry just as a whole is really focused on the technology and the people and the quality of people. I was having some great conversations last week out at RSA, and we really were talking about there's no barriers in terms of gender or color or race or anything like that in information security, provided that you are talented in IT and information security. So those doors of opportunity are really there waiting for minorities and especially women overall. So let's go on to the next slide. So women, I feel, really are the agents of change. I actually love to say that cybersecurity is the James Bond of IT, and women in general are just so much better at multitasking, prioritizing, reprioritizing in a very timely manner. That's just sort of a nature of a female in a sort of a general sense, and I think that because of those characteristics, women are so well suited to have a career in cybersecurity and be those agents of change. You have the ability to, as females, we have the understanding of communications, analytics, empathy skills, which is so critical to all the different things that take place in cybersecurity. We also like to engage in people development, mentoring, leadership activities, which is not always in true just characteristically of men, right? Because women tend to be a little bit more by nature just more nurturing and want to grow other folks, you know, their mothers and things of that nature. So if half the technology users are women, it really just makes sense for more women to be in leadership roles in technology and information security overall. So that has been a huge inspiration to me in what I've been able to do in giving back to the information security industry and hopefully inspiring some other women overall in general. So let's talk about why. Let's go to our next slide. So let's talk about a little bit about the opportunities. We can go on to the next one, the slide overall. Why would you choose a career in information security? What is it going to offer you? What kind of doors of opportunity? What kinds of things you're going to get to do? So I'd love to share. I'm sharing this great slide with you. It's a hot career. I think every single day does not go by where somewhere on the news that someone has had a breach or an information security challenge or, you know, something going on out there. So that constitutes to more than 200+ thousand cybersecurity jobs that are going unfilled on a given annual basis. That's a lot of people getting employed. And postings for these job opportunities have gone up significantly by 74% over the last 5 years. And this is something from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And it's being forecasted that these job opportunities in information security are expected to grow by another 53% by next year, or 2018, and 2 years out. Again, if you think about those numbers, that's like quite a lot of information security types of jobs going on all over the U.S. So not just in certain hot markets where concentration, but people in all these major companies need folks like yourselves out there. Network World has come out recently and even said 44% of the organizations are short on staff with folks, with people that have strong cybersecurity and networking knowledge overall. And I'm seeing this with the, our launch of ISC Talent. Overall, they're saying, and I think this number is kind of low, but 35% of the organization are unable to fill the open security jobs, despite that 82% expect to be attacked this year. So look at that imbalance overall. We're seeing on average with the ISC Talent that some of these job openings are going on for 9 months to a year. Nothing is getting done, so that means the technology isn't being managed properly. The companies that are bought this tech, made those investments in technology, are at risk of being attacked or breached. So this, the cybersecurity profession just in general has grown much faster than IT jobs overall, and is expected, to continue to grow for many, many years. But women, it ranges. Okay, so women are accounting for about 25% of the personnel in the field. And in cybersecurity, it's estimated, as we've seen, between 10 to 15% of the workforce being female. So let's get out there, ladies, and close that gap between supply and demand. Let's go and talk about the benefits of a career in cybersecurity. So let's go to the next slide. So what we're seeing through both T.E.N, obviously, and ISC Talent is we're seeing such a growing demand. Companies are taking information security so seriously. We saw that last week at RSA with 40,000 people out in San Francisco. If people and companies are not taking this industry and the technologies and the people seriously, there would be no way San Francisco would have been overrun by a bunch of security people last week.
Yes, everyone, hold on just a moment. I believe we lost Marci for a brief moment. We will have her back.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. All right, thank you.
All right, sorry about that.
Okay,
Okay, so we were at the growing demand. I'm not sure where we cut off, and I do apologize for the cutoff of the content here. So the growing demand, okay? So at the end of the day, there's a tremendous growing demand. Companies are taking information security very, very, very seriously. If you look at the size of the conference that RSA has grown to last week, overall, we really, really have an amazing amount of people that were out there overall. A lot of folks like to joke around and say, hey, the security folks have a 0% unemployment rate. So, you know, there is a huge demand for the types of roles that are, you know, open out there. And the compensation is great. You know, it overall pays a lot more sometimes in certain circumstances than the IT counterparts with the same types of job codes or job. Overall, the information security industry has, you know, or folks that work in the information security industry have a significant impact. The field is diverse. You get to make the rules of engagement, so to speak, and your work is truly meaningful because you're protecting the nation's infrastructure. You're protecting companies out there, and there's a constant change of evolving challenges out there. Can you guys hear me okay? I just want to make sure.
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let's go to the next slide if we could. Let's talk about those opportunities that are out there. So overall, we have a wide range of opportunities in the information security profession. I am not a traditional information security professional. So, for example, I'm not a chief information security officer, but I get to work with many, many chief information security officers and security professionals throughout. So there is a leadership track with many organizations out there that pertain to information security, typically in a solution provider or vendor. Where we have it in the management factor, we have information security opportunities where there's risk, fraud, audit, compliance, program, project services, where you're at the VP, you know, director type of level. There's also an aspect of the auditor type of role where you're coming in with the SEC or your compliance organization or an audit and compliance company overall to kind of make sure the checks and balances are in place, the protocols are being followed. So that's another way to get in the door in information security. Then there's also the principles of information security, those architects, those engineers, those analysts, those administrators that are charting the product roadmaps, that are charting the courses of the organizations for the information security direction to the technologies that are going to be utilized. And then there's a whole range of specialty roles that are out there. And then mine kind of goes endless on some of these, and many of them are just brand new to the whole security profession in the last couple of years. So you have penetration testers, you have forensic and litigation types of individuals, people focused on threat intelligence, really kind of understanding the dark side of the internet and all the attacks that are coming forth. Folks that are focused on application security. The world that we live in today is all connected through many different types of applications, and that can take place obviously through the web itself and mobile and e-commerce, but also through the mobile, you know, the devices themselves. So application security is even more critical than it has ever been in many, many years. And software developers that have a security specialty in there. You know, I kind of always say, why would you have a security why would you operate a car without a seatbelt or an airbag? It's the same thing. Why would you develop code without software security in there? So having that knowledge and expertise makes you much more attractive as a developer if you have the security knowledge in place. And then, of course, then there's identity management, access governance type of rules where you're connecting the dots and making sure that your organization, with the multitude of systems that are there, have single sign-on and the like. And then you have cryptography, where you're in encryption and things of that nature. So there's a lot of debate over that type of thing in the world today, which we could do a whole nother very long webinar on. But those types of individuals that have that background are really, really needed. And then, of course, the solution providers, those that are providing the marketing and sales expertise and the product management, the PR and communications that are supporting the organizations like the solution providers. And having that expertise. And of course, the simple, you know, not so simple business and advisory, those that are consultants that have the business knowledge that are out there. They might have been a former chief information security officer and the like, but lending their knowledge and everything like that. So it's a real important ecosystem and a large range of opportunities in cybersecurity. Let's go on to the next slide, and let's talk about showing me the money. So the top 10 security skills that are in existence are really this lead software security engineer, where the average pay, and this is really more on a national type of scale, about $233,000. That's a lot of money overall. And kind of going down the list to an application security manager, as I talked about the importance of application security, to $165,000. So the whole range of the folks in between, with a chief security officer really being the average salary about $192,000 overall. So there's so many doors of opportunities. If you compare some of these numbers to regular IT jobs, they're definitely much higher overall. So let's talk about how do you get there. So let's jump on to the next two slides. How do you get a career in InfoSec, and how do you get there? And where that success is found on many different paths. So success is found on these different paths of opportunity. As I talked about, I'm not a chief information security officer. I would consider myself a sales and marketing professional as well as an entrepreneur, providing a set of services to the information security industry. So there's not a one-shot deal of how everyone gets the doors of opportunity open. It's really how you make those things happen for yourself. You have control over your own destiny, with cybersecurity being an amazing factor of opportunity. And it's really about your passion and enthusiasm and willingness to learn that can really take the direction of where you want to go and where you want to be. And there's so many opportunities for us. So I'm going to take you through some of the folks that I have a lot of respect and admiration in their career path. Let's jump on over to Shelby Rumbout to the next slide. She has the consulting path. So Shelby is currently the IAM management executive over at U.S. Bank. And she started from getting her career in cybersecurity as a consultant to contractor to project manager to recognized leader. She's pretty technical overall, and originally was not managerial. Now she's leading those charges at U.S. Bank. Her biggest break was really about building the program management office at her company, and it gave her some new opportunities and different perspectives about technology, which allowed her to kind of get the breadth and depth on the managerial side. It also gave her experience of just managing people in general, and thinking about strategy for her organization. Her biggest advice is really about evolving the threat landscape and creating an environment of continuous education, research, and collaboration. And she says embrace it. I would absolutely agree with that. Let's go on to our next slide, and we talk about Denise Heyman. So Denise has been a very successful sales and marketing and channels executive for many years. I've known her. She's now with Cyfort as the VP of Worldwide Sales and Channels. She started with Symantec back even much earlier than I got in the space. I guess that makes her either a veteran or old as well, but she's a pretty amazing lady. She started with Symantec in 1990, and her big sort of break was for everything with the Michelangelo virus starting in, breaking out in 1991. So she had a real great background in, education and math, but really took up and got the trends, really got everything. Her biggest break was taking over a region that had not performed at Symantec for a couple of years. And that's where she found her passion and her success around the whole sales endeavor. She feels that the cybersecurity industry is woefully understaffed, and the field will only grow to every single year. The job opportunities will only continue to grow and expand. And being in cybersecurity is certainly a great career choice. I'd have to agree with Denise on that one. Let's go on to the next one, the next case study here. We have Julie Talbot Hubbard on the audit path. She started in the whole arena back in 1999 doing audit and resiliency. And then she took the move and from risk management, made her move into risk management and cybersecurity and saw the opportunities that awaited her. Her biggest career was early on in her career where her manager left and she became the interim director. And this was her first step going into the leadership type of role. And her second big break she attributes to winning the ISE Awards, and that was a game changer for her. It gave her the confidence and recognition in the IT information security industry. She says get involved and then build an engineering program as a young adult to build the knowledge and get the internship as in the cybersecurity or risk management domains. Your opportunities are limited by personal fears or self-imposed boundaries. And Julie now is the Associate Vice President IT Engineering for Nationwide Insurance, where she is bridging the gap of business analytics and cybersecurity analytics for Nationwide. So she's got a really exciting role as well. And I'd love to introduce our next special guest is Ann Coons. So let's go on to the next slide. Ann has won the ISE Awards, Southeast Awards, several years ago. She's now retired, and she was the first Chief Information Security Officer for the Walt Disney Company overall. She got her career really started back in 1978, and she also attributes the ISE Awards getting some courage to submit her internal application to become the Chief Information Security Officer for the Walt Disney Company. They had gone through a very extensive external search and didn't find any candidates that really fit the bill for the Disney Company. And they reached out to her after she submitted her application, her internal application that is, and then winning the recognition and the award overall, and that gave her that confidence. Fast forward now, she was bestowed our ISE Leadership Luminary Award, where she was showcased and honored for all the lifetime achievement type of work that she had done. And then her last day as a CISO was back in 2013. So Ann is actually out there and is a great mentor and an inspiration to women in cybersecurity overall. Let's go on to the next slide, where how being a woman gives you an edge. So overall, being a woman really is giving you an edge. As I talked about earlier, we can multitask. We have more nurturing skills, which allows for mentoring. What you do get as a woman, because there's too few of us in our profession, is you stand out sometimes even more when you are successful. You have those great communication skills. You have those management skills. You're better just intuitively at multitasking. And as a woman, your ability to analyze data and all those metrics out there and then combine with your gut. I'm always the one to talk about the gut. You've got to trust your gut instincts. And that's a real powerful winning combination of why a woman is so suited and well suited to be in the information security industry. So let's talk about the next slide here. I think it's really important to make a plan. You can't just roll the dice out there. So when you're thinking about a career in cybersecurity, there's obviously a means to an end. You've got to think about your own career path. So kind of jot down really simply, you know, where do you want to be next year? Where do you want to maybe be in 5 years? Where do you maybe want to be in 10 years? And maybe some of these things aren't invented yet, but that's okay. You can kind of chart the career path. Do you want to be a Chief Information Security Officer? Do you want to be an application security director in an organization? So you've got to sort of think about your career path of where you want to go and where you're going to accelerate and take advantage of those opportunities that are going to be put in front of you. Overcome those weaknesses, you know, do a SWOT analysis of yourself and say, you know, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are my opportunities, and what are my threats? We do that for the business side, but you're the product. You're the one that's got to get out there and get your plan together. Seek out those training and opportunities to advance your knowledge. So get some of those certifications. Go to those ISSA meetings. Go to the different things out there that afford you the opportunity to learn more. Network with one another. There's lots of free training and webcasts out there overall. So go ahead and get out there and take advantage of all the great things that are out there. Couple of quick things. Let's go on to the next slide. I know we're getting limited on time. I want to encourage the importance of advancing your knowledge. There's scholarships out there. There's ways to get out there to advance your knowledge. So let's just jump on to the next slide, where there's a whole list of great cybersecurity schools that are specializing for the first time on a degree in cybersecurity. So here's a list of great schools out there that have that built into their curriculum and really kind of leading the charge on information security education in a master's or a bachelor's degree type of level, taking that in there. Go on to the next slide, please, where you can invest in your career. Go after those certifications. Attend those conferences I mentioned. Network. Learn the hard skills and the soft skills, and go where the opportunities are. Take the time to meet and greet. Meet recruiters. Meet consultants. Meet the colleagues. Meet everybody out there overall. And I want to say, let's go on to I'm going to skip a couple slides here. I know we've got a nice quote from Julie Talbot Hubbard here. But let's just talk about the transition overall, how to really move forward ahead. Understand the business. So you really have to be a successful security executive, you really have to understand what your company does out there and how they do it and how you can make a difference in cybersecurity, what you're protecting. If you don't know the business, you can't understand or articulate to the lines of business leaders, your leadership, your board of directors, what it is you're protecting, what they need to invest in. Use that aspect and leverage that as a female, where you have the insights and intuition, where some of these male counterparts, no offense out there's men joining us today, use those that counter intuition that you traditionally have. And you're not going to have all the answers, so don't be afraid to ask those very hard questions. That's what makes us all stronger overall, is asking those questions. And seek the guidance and get those opportunities. Remember mostly, though, that integrity matters above all else out there. We are cybersecurity professionals. Trust matters. So that's really very important. Let's skip over the integrity and leadership slide and jump to the second to last slide here. If you take away one thing today, don't be afraid to take on difficult challenges. It can be a career maker, a game changer for you. Recognize it when it comes your way. Volunteer for it, and even. So that's from Denise Heyman, one of the ladies that we focused on today. Just take it on. Go for it, ladies. Would be proud to have you in the cybersecurity profession, and I appreciate the opportunity to be with all of you today. So if you have any questions, I don't know if there's time for them. I'm happy to take them.
Okay, well, we'll thank you so much, Marci. We'll actually open the floor to maybe one or two questions for those that can hang on with us. Let's see if there's any hands raised here. Okay. So we don't have any hands raised, which means that you did an excellent job of letting everybody know what they need to do to become empowered and to pursue a career as women in cybersecurity. So I'm going to take that as mission accomplished. And thank you so much for joining us today. And for those of you,
thank you for having me, and I'm sorry about the technical difficulty that we had midway through.
That's okay. We'll do some editing on the floor, and we'll also have this out for everyone to view. This is Marci's information if you'd like to connect with her. So I'm going to leave this up as we close out. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will be back on the third Tuesday of April, and please look out for our emails as well. So again, thank you so much, Marci. Very much enjoyed your presentation today, and look forward to having everyone next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Mm-hmm.